Hey, what's up, guys? How are we getting on today? Episode 16, and this time I'm joined by a guy called Alastair Harte. What kind of really inspired me to kind of reach out to Alastair Harte was simply about his own kind of personal story, his own kind of personal journey that he's been on. At the moment, like, he owns a couple of gyms, he's done really incredible for himself, but behind all that, there's been an incredible journey where he's had to overcome so many challenges throughout his life. So in today's podcast, you're going to get to hear directly from him about his own personal journey, which is absolutely incredible. Also as well, this was recorded for my teen platform to help teenagers become physically, emotionally and mentally stronger. So this is there as a part of a personal development video series, and it's also going to be within the mental health section of that platform. So guys, if you do want to check out that platform, just go to foreverstrongteens.com. If you have a teenager, get them signed up to that. It's absolutely 100% free, so they can jump on and check that out. There's lots of good stuff on there. But anyway, guys, let's get stuck into today's show. Hey guys, how are we getting on today? So today I'm here with Alastair Harte. So Alastair is an entrepreneur in the fitness industry, and he is also a fitness model that holds several titles. So thank you so much for
thanks, Stephen. Thank you. Yeah, really looking forward to it, and super excited to be a part of something that is so on it. Like the work that you've put into the website, the content that you're putting out, the fact that you're putting it out for free, the fact that you're not trying to monetize it in any way, just goes to show that the intent is good. And there's so many people going to benefit from this.
Yeah, hopefully anyway, that's the main goal.
Yeah,
anyway.
Super.
But yeah, no, really why I wanted to kind of connect with you is because of your own personal story. So yeah. I suppose, like, if a lot of people kind of seen you now, they're just going to look at this successful person. You have 2 gyms, you're doing really well, but the underlying story behind all that is something that people don't really see within people. So
exactly, and this is something that I suppose I'd like everyone to kind of, we're quick to judge, and we're quick to think everybody is doing better than we are. But in actual fact, there's everyone has a backstory. And my backstory is very colourful. Yeah. So it all started for me. So at the moment, like you said, 2 gyms. Things are going good. World titles, all that. So it all seems rosy, but it wasn't always that way. I got kicked out of school when I was 15. Really bad academically. I just had zero interest. I never did any homework. I was just the worst student in school. Teachers hated me. Kicked out of school. Was allowed, my junior cert paid for. So it was just in and around the time of the junior cert. And they said, look, you're, as the principal put it, he goes, I think you'd be better off studying at home. So I said, okay. So I went off, and I got I think the following day I had a job. I was washing pots in a hotel in Baltimore at the age of 15. And I said, all of a sudden I obviously started hanging around with older people. They were going off out in Skibbereen at the weekends and stuff, and I would go out with them. And it all kind of went from bad to worse, really, because I failed my junior cert. Failing your junior cert is pretty bad. There was only one subject I passed was metalwork, and I missed the theory part of that. My project was that good that I managed to get through on it. But academic.
Was it just you just didn't have any interest?
Zero.
Was it something, or was it more that you didn't like being told what to do by the teachers? Or was it
I always had a problem with authority, and I would definitely say that comes down to not being disciplined properly as a child.
Yeah.
And just somewhat, just not getting, fucked out of it when I should have been. Yeah. And I would say that. But in the next breath, like, I was my own worst enemy, because I was leaving a trail of destruction everywhere I went. Never thought of anybody else, only myself. Lived in the moment completely, which we all say we should live in the moment, but this was living in the moment in a chaotic kind of way. So at the age of at the age, still at the age of 15, I was unsure what I wanted to do, and I knew, washing pots wasn't going to cut it forever. So my mum's brother, my uncle, was the head chef in the Westbury in London. And it was the summertime. He said, look, come over, see what you think. You're working in the kitchen already. See what you think about becoming a chef. So I went over there, and it was not for me. So I just didn't like it. Obviously he loved it and stuff like that, but it just really wasn't for me. So I came back, and we had our family business was a motor factory, so we sold car parts and things like that. So. And look, my dad said, look, come and work in the shop and so on. So I did. And that was in Clonakilty. Our home place was in Skibbereen. So I started to spend a lot of time in Clonakilty, and I started to make friends in Clonakilty and stuff like that. So obviously, if I was staying with them, or I was socialising, or I was going to a disco, or I was going whatever, I was ending up staying at a friend's house. So definitely then the discipline wasn't there, because I wasn't accountable. Just let loose. Yeah. And I can remember going to, one of the underage discos and, taking drugs for the first time. I go, fuck it. I remember the following day going, never again am I going to do that. And the first thing I took was acid, right? And I remember the next day going, never again am I doing that. But of course I did. And then it went on to ecstasy, and they were really the two drugs at the time. Coke wasn't really a drug that was readily available. Like this, I'm talking about 96, 97, and it wasn't really readily available. Plus, there was only about 4 or 5. You could count on one hand the amount of people in a town in West Cork that actually took drugs back then. Now you could count on one hand the amount of people that don't. It's gone full swing. So unfortunately, that got I got pretty deep into that, because I was, I obviously didn't realize that I had this addictive personality, and it had taken over. It had taken over. I got to the stage where I was taking yokes going to work. It was just fucking ridiculous. And it was nuts. It was crazy. When I think back about it. So some of the stories are pretty bad. So anyway, long story short, guards caught me with a load of drugs, and then I was in court, and it was a case of, right, okay, you need to sort yourself out. So I ended up going to Arbour House and going through treatment there, and I went through kind of 12 months of a day, a day release, going in there, having counselling and. Trying to straighten myself out.
Was that your own choice to go there, or were you kind of pushed to go there?
It was recommended by the solicitor, saying, look, if you may get away with, because at this point I turned 18, and it was, they were looking to put a custodial sentence on me. So obviously I didn't want to fucking go to jail. So I said, right, okay, well, I'll try this. And I can remember being in our house talking to, a counsellor, and they were all ex-addicts themselves. And I can remember talking to him, and he said, would you ever consider a career in maybe, or even volunteering and talking about something like this? And I said, yeah, I probably would. But at the time, I remember saying that because it sounded like the right thing to say, that it might help getting me off. And I suppose that was a kind of the serendipitous part of that, is that's what I do now, all these years later. So, cut a long story short, we were going in and out of court for about 12 months, and I was going in and out of treatment. I hadn't been in trouble since, so I got probation, and I then hermetized myself. I just stayed at home, only came out to go to work, would go back home. My girlfriend at the time was when she finished work, she would come and stay with us, and we would go to work together and things like that. And that went on for a period of time. And then when we both hit the age of 19, 20, we decided, right, okay, we'll get our own place together. So we did, and I had suffered a lot now with kind of social anxiety because I'd locked myself away for so long. Yeah. So I was okay in daytime, but the minute darkness fell and I knew that people would have drink on board and they weren't themselves, I would get fucking absolutely freaked out completely. So she wanted to go socialising, which was fine, and I said, yeah, look, we'll go out. Yeah. So that was meaning I would go out and I would have to get drunk to be able to relax. And of course that spiraled, and then my addictive personality kicked in, and through my 20s, it went from going out every now and then to going out a couple of nights at the weekend. Then I would go missing. I can remember going to Garrettstown, a friend asking me to go to Garrettstown surfing on a Tuesday, and I stopped drinking on the following Wednesday. It was situations like that where, because you worked for your parents, you could kind of get away with it and so on. And it got to the stage where, like, the drinking, I was becoming a functioning alcoholic. And I remember it was the 13th of December, 2009, and a Sunday morning early, and I was knocking on the back door of this pub, and I knew the landlady would be inside, and she let me in, and I was just sitting there drinking a pint of Heineken, and I was looking out the window, and I was there going, what the fuck am I doing here? So it was that kind of time, and I said, right, I need to get out of here. It was weird. It was just all of a sudden, it clicked with me and goes, like, you're probably the youngest person that comes into this pub, and what are you doing here? So
how did that affect your relationship at that time as well?
It like my relationship, like myself, and at this point we were married, and we had two very young children, and at this point, like, I had untold damage done to the relationship. It was to the point that we were just living in the same house. We weren't even sharing a room together. It was, it had gone that far gone. So, like, I had, done serious amounts of damage to the people that were closest to me, without even thinking about it. But like I say, that kind of moment where I went, fuck, this is all wrong. And I said, right, okay, I need to make changes here big time, like. So that was the Sunday, and I had this vision that I wanted to play rugby. And at the time I was 48 kilos, and I was really skin and bone, really.
Imagine you were 48 kilos.
Yeah, and I'm 94 now. Yeah. So yeah, I was I go for weeks on end. I remember going on a holiday to Magaluf, and I drank for the whole week, and all I used to eat was one chicken burger from KFC in the evening. That was it. I just drink all day, all night. It was crazy. So that Sunday, I woke up Monday morning and said, right, this is it. I'm fucking done with this lifestyle. I'd see about playing rugby. So I knew they trained on a Tuesday night, and at the time Clan had a senior team, and they were in the senior league. And I went out there on the Tuesday night, and they said, look, that's the senior team that's training. The second or the third team would probably suit you better. That's on Thursdays or Fridays or whatever the case was. Why don't you come back out then? And I said, okay, I know it's kind of an anticlimax. And I had a friend of mine with me as well, who was overweight and wanted to lose weight and so on and so forth. So there was a gym in the rugby club that was leased out to another guy. And as we were there, we said, look, let's go into the gym and see what the story is. So we went into the gym, and we joined up, and I became great friends with the guy that was running it. And from that then, he gave me good advice. He was an ex-bodybuilder. We then both went and competed together a couple of years later. And we still remain great friends. He's just after leaving here, actually. And he was in 2017. He was he'd had enough of the gym that he was in. It was a 1,000 square foot gym in the rugby club. Like, the scale of it, you couldn't grow it any more than it was growing. And he was doing lots of hours himself. And he said, I'm probably going to open a personal training studio from at home and tip away that way. So I said, right, okay, well, I'll put in a bid to take the gym over. So there was me, and there was another guy that was actually teaching classes downstairs. So both of us went for it, and the rugby club gave it to the other guy because he was there and he was, paying rent anyway. It was a minor adjustment to the contract. It was an easy transition for the club. So I was devastated because I was like, fuck, this was my chance now to get going. At the time I had been doing online coaching and so on and so forth like that. Kind of part-time. I had qualified as a personal trainer. I'd gone off and done that because I'd lost my job in the motor trade few years prior to that, and I knew fitness was something I wanted to get into. So, and I liked the idea of kind of helping people and stuff like that. So I said, this is great. This is the way to go. And I didn't get it, and it was awful. It's just going like, fuck it, felt really down and out. And this building that we're in now was idle, and this was actually, the building we're in now was actually an agricultural machinery shop. So they used to sell tractor parts and do hydraulic hoses and all that. And I knew it because I'd been buying stuff here before when I was in the motor trade and that. And knew the building, and I said, you know what, that could really work as a gym. And I was there going, but like, there's too many people, there's too many fitness facilities in Clonakilty, and there isn't enough people. And I remember saying that to someone, and they goes, yeah, but the people are coming for you, they're not coming for the facility. Because, I built up quite a client base at the time. And I said, fuck it, you know what, I'll chance it, because it's big enough to be able to scale it up if it goes that way. And that was 3 years ago, this March coming, and like we're super busy. Yeah. I've, I don't know, there's 7 people working for me now. We've the other gym in Skibbereen, and it's all gone from strength to strength. But I suppose one of the things one of the beautiful things that came out of it was, I was talking to a lady who works in the Cork City North School of Further Education, and she asked me to come up and do a talk to the students up there that wanted to, they came from colourful backgrounds themselves, they wanted to progress and better themselves in life and all that. And I said, like, geez, that'd be fantastic, because like, I was where they are, rather than being an academic coming in and telling them, look, to get yourself going, and they're going, well, you haven't a fucking clue about me. I was relatable to these people. And I remember she said to me, she said, look, don't be alarmed if any of them get up and walk out as you're talking. Because the room was small enough, like, with about, I don't know, 25 or 30 people or something like that. And she said, like, if they don't like something, they just leave, like. And I said, okay, that's fair enough. And it was funny, the ones that she thought would leave were the ones that actually stayed on afterwards to talk to me. It was scheduled for an hour, and I actually went over. I went an hour and a half into the talk. But that was the first time I openly spoke to strangers about my past. And it was very, very liberating, because I felt safe talking to these people because they were there as well,
How did you feel beforehand, knowing you're going into talk openly about who you're
like? I was very open-minded going in there, and I didn't feel it any way like threatened, or I didn't feel like, oh fuck, they're going to judge me or this, that, or the other, because these people were the same as me. They'd gone through rough times. There was drugs, there was drink, there was lots of other, substance abuse or whatever. And I knew they wouldn't judge me. They just may not like my story. So I wasn't really concerned that way. But the beautiful thing that came out of it was the feeling I got afterwards, where I'm going, fucking hell, like, that needs to be spoken about more. And that's where it went on from there. And I just started to expand, and I just told everyone, I was in the Sun a couple of times talking about it. I was in a lot of local newspapers. I was on Red FM, 96 FM, all these things. And once that story got out, like, it, and I've been on multiple podcasts and stuff, and I'll always, like, the truth will never get you into trouble, And I just think that the more that you can explain to people, and especially now my children, who I have a absolutely fantastic relationship with, they know absolutely everything. So they're armed with the information, knowing, what I've been through. They're going to be put in situations themselves where they're going to be faced with a decision, and I was faced with a decision, but I know context. So at least they'll have the context now to go, I know how this could potentially play out, and they'll, hopefully it'll help their decision making that bit better. I just think it's a wonderful thing to be able to spread that message, but also to be able to wear it and go, you know what? Yeah, I'm a fucking alcoholic, drug addict. I did this. I fucked people over. I ruined my marriage. I destroyed multiple people's lives. I got fired from a good job in the motor trade. And so be it. Here I am now, and I'm trying to pay back.
Did you find it hard to be able to accept yourself from being on that journey?
Do you know what? No, because I'm I've become very, very self-aware and gone. well, look, you know, I can't, you can't change anything. I can't turn the clock back. And there's nothing really I can do about this. But I know what I can do is try and prevent other teens. Like, that's, like, I'm looking at kids all the time going, fuck, I know how this is going to play out. Like, you know, I can see the background they're coming from. And that's why, like, my age limit in the gym is about 11 or 12 that we start bringing kids in. Because if I had the information there, at that age, then maybe it might have been a completely different course. So that's, you know, that's where I'm looking at, like, you know.
Yeah. No, the reason I asked that, because it's speaking to a lot of people, that seems to be one of the biggest things for people, the toughest things, is actually being able to accept the journey that they've been on. And say, it's okay, I've been on that journey, but that doesn't matter now. It's all about who you are right now. And what direction you want to do moving forward. I
think that's a kind of an internal personality trait. Like, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like, you know, if I'm in a good mood, everybody knows about it.
Right.
But like, if I'm having a bad day, like, I can't say, right, I'm going in here now, I need to be X. Like, I'm so emotional in that regard, like, that you'll know when I'm high and you'll know when I'm low. Hence why I put out, a lot of content on Instagram about my mental health and how did I do suffer with a lot of low days, not because of anything, only the fact that, you know, I have mental health issues and I'm quite, you know, I put my hand up and say that. And I like using my platforms to be able to show people that when we started this conversation, you go, it all looks rosy on the outside, and you've this and you've that and you've all these lovely things. But like, it's worthless if you're not happy.
Do you think that helps you with self-healing as well? By putting it out there?
Yeah, I think definitely. Well, look, you know, there's no good in bottling anything up, and I definitely think sometimes I think I speak out too much about things. I've never been one to bottle anything up. I've always been genetically someone who would just fucking spit it out. But definitely I would agree 100% that the talking to someone, whether it be a camera or whether it be an individual or whether it be just one person, definitely helps. Like, you know,
I'd be probably the complete opposite to you then. I bottle everything up. But what I've kind of learned, that even like speaking to the camera or putting videos out there, I find it's kind of my own self-healing. Like, even like I put up like a lot of motivational quotes and all this kind of stuff, but a lot of times that's me putting a message out for myself back. So when I'm actually reading it myself, it kind of changes my thinking. And I find that really, really helps with self-healing. Just constantly putting stuff out there, because then you're constantly in that positive, uplifting frame of mind.
That's also a game of self-awareness, because you're aware that not only are you're putting out that content with the intent of helping others, but you're also, you're still working on yourself, and knowing that system works for you. And the bonus is that it's helping somebody else at the same time as well. Right? I think understanding the type of person that you are and going with that is huge. There's so many people out there that you would see that are trying to be something they're not. And I think that the more honest you can be, and the more, like, whatever your interest is, whether it's mental health, whether it's whatever, like, be yourself, be honest and put it out, because people can see through bullshit. You know? And it just devalues the message that you're trying to put out there then, you know?
No, definitely. Because I think, like, and with saying that as well, I know there's a lot of people, especially like teenagers and stuff, they're going through different emotions, as they're growing older, they're obviously going through different experiences and stuff like that, and I think it's important for them to be able to find something that works for them, something that kind of really connects with them. Like, even for me, joining the gym, that was massively life-changing for me. I think it's really important for people to actually try different things and really try and connect with something.
One of the major things I'd say on that, Stephen, is that joining the gym is a fantastic outlet, and it works wonders. However, if I was someone that was starting out afresh, And the one piece of advice I would give that person is do your homework on the gym you're going to.
Yeah.
Do your homework on the type of people that train there. Do your homework on the type of people that are personal trainers there, and make sure that, you know, they're driven by the right morals.
Right,
because
yeah.
I really feel that there's such pressures in social media at the moment that I know particular gyms that have people that, you know, are just based on image, based on social presence, based on this whole falseness. Whereas 5 minutes down the road, there could be a gym where the personal trainers inside there have a story to tell. The gym is set up for the right reasons. And all it takes is a person's first time walking into a gym to go, fuck, I feel at ease here. That person's really sound. They said hi to me, rather than some bunch of alpha males walking around the place and then going like, well, you know, the person going in there for the first time is going, oh, fuck, look at the weight they're lifting and look at the size of them and this and that. So that can then, by doing your homework on that, and it's massively underrated. And I say this to everyone, whether it's a lady in her 30s, 40s or 50s to a guy starting out, do your homework. Make sure that the place you're going to has the right people working there. And just to give you context in that, I had a guy recently, similar age to myself, was carrying a bit of weight, family man, and got a present of a 3-month membership for a gym. I won't say which one, but a gym. And never set foot in a gym in his life before. Is of the older mindset like myself, you know, there was no gym 20 years ago, you know, that kind of way, and it was just all kind of new to him. And so he walked into this facility and was looking around, and everything just looked alien to him, because, you know, it does if you don't know what the equipment is. And he obviously recognised the bike, and he said, right, I'll get on this thing. But it was an electric bike, so he was looking for the on button because it was in darkness. And he said to the guy that was sitting at the table in the corner there, and he said, how do you turn the bike on? And your man started laughing at him, and he said, you pedal it. And he felt like an absolute tool, like, and was there going, all right, okay. And he pedaled it for about 5 or 10 minutes. There was a rowing machine next to it. He jumped on the rowing machine, and he said, no, fuck this, I'm off. So he was there once, but that facility had 3 months membership off him. They never followed up with him. They never asked, hang on a sec, you only trained once and we haven't seen you back. Was everything okay? So he came to see me. He messaged me, and I said, look, like I do with everyone, come have a chat with me. Like, I always need to get the background of where someone's coming from. Like, what's going on, you know? What's the negative association? Like, from that time he left that gym until he spoke to me, every time he heard anything fitness related or gym related, he was like, fuck the gym, you know, fuck this or fuck that, you know? And so we spoke for an hour. I said to him, right, okay, what you need is probably a personal training session first. We'll take you through different things. We'll give you a logbook to log your lifts and stuff like that, and let you off and see how you go. So we did that. He's in his, I think he's in his 4th week now or something at the moment. He's loving it, you know, because
completely different perception.
It's completely different, because he now knows what he's doing. He's got his book. He was shown what to do. He knows that everybody inside here isn't judging him or laughing at him. But that is an all too familiar story across the board. And I just think a lot of the people that work in a lot of these facilities they're in the wrong job. Yeah. You know, you have to be, we had a guy on work placement from CIT, and I was speaking to the course coordinator inside here, and I said, like it's a 3-year course or whatever it is. And I said, do you have a module on, you know, almost like hospitality or interpersonal skills? And they said, no. I said, do you realize that is the most important trait? I said, like, if somebody came in here and they had diplomas, bachelor's degree, this, that, I don't give a shit if they can't talk to someone. Yeah. If they can't make someone feel comfortable, and like that guy, make him feel comfortable, you can do what you want with them. Yeah. You know? You can literally do what you want with someone once they feel comfortable in your company. But like, if you're spouting off, you know, Latin names for muscles and stuff like that, like, you have to be able to speak the language that people understand, but you have to make people feel comfortable. And one of the lads that we had that came on the work placement, he's that good that we're taking him on full time when he's finished in May. But I also said to that lady, I said that it's not, he's not good at fitness. He's good at people.
Yeah.
If you put him into hospitality, he could be a hotel manager because he's good with people. You know, interpersonal skills are the gateway to getting somebody. Once it's comfort. You know, once you can make someone feel comfortable, it's very easy for you to be able to get them to, you know, to be able to steer them in the direction you want, you know.
It's the same. What's the saying that people will remember more how you make them feel rather than what you actually say to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you make them feel down or anything, straight away they're going to have the negative.
But it's an all too familiar story in Ireland, I'm afraid. I wouldn't just say Ireland, I would say across in the industry at scale. But that all boils down to like everything in business comes from the top, you know, and if it's not set from the top down, this is how we need to roll out, it's never going to work.
Yeah, it's going to fall apart. Cool. I want to ask you a question. So like at the moment, like I work with a few teenagers and stuff like that, and they're kind of struggling in different areas in their lives, and they're not really going to school too much, and they're actually being told by the teachers that they're never going to amount to anything. What would you say to someone like that? So someone in around 15, 16 years old where like there's a good chance they might give up on school.
Yeah. The teaching system that's out there at the minute, and the reason why I'm looking at the camera at this is because I want to speak directly to the person that's looking at this. The teaching system that's out there at the moment is fucked. It's a very, very old dynamic of you must get good grades, you must get a college course, you must find a girl or a boy, you must get married, you must have a house, you must have kids, and you must die. You know, and that has to stop. That old school way of thinking has to stop. Just because you're not an academic in the system that's been put out there doesn't mean to say that you're not going to absolutely excel at life. And I'll give you a case point in this. If you don't know who Gary Vee is, search him up and have a look at his story and have a look at any of his content online. He was told he was never going to amount to anything. He has his report card in his office, all D's and F's. He was told that he was thick. He was laughed at. His friends' parents always said that he was never going to amount to anything. The kids not to hang around with him. And now he's a serial entrepreneur and probably one of the greatest marketing business minds and social minds out there. Because of, he would say circumstance in parenting, but like, just because you're not good in school or some dipshit of a teacher tells you that you're never going to amount to anything, you should then turn around and use that to prove a point that, you know, you're better. We all have the potential to be whoever we want. Like, you know, Stephen, you're here, 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, brain, eyes. I'm the very same as you. We've been through the mill. You know, we're making something out of it. The same as anybody else. Yeah. You know, like possibility is endless of what you can achieve in this life, but you have to go after it and you have to work hard. But the only way you'll work hard in life is if you find something that you enjoy. If you like whatever makes you, you know, go, do you know what? I'd fucking like to do that. Whether it's starting a podcast talking about knitting, or starting a podcast and talking about remote control cars or Lego or something like that. You could monetize that down the road, you know, and it like with the internet at the scale it is at the moment, like anything is possible. You know, you could like just go after your dream. If school isn't working out for you, then just remember that something down the road will, but take it from, did you finish your leaving?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, take it from me, right, as someone that failed their junior cert and, you know, left school thinking it was the right thing to do. The one thing I would say to you is, if you're in 4th, 5th or 6th year at the moment and you're there going, fuck this. Yeah, I'm right. You're right. I'm going to start a podcast, or I'm going to start a Shopify site and sell stuff from Wish or any the Chinese sites. Do that, but please finish off your school, because it's the one I don't have too many regrets in my life, but I wish I had a leaving cert to say I've done it. I never had a leaving cert, never went to a Debs, never went to a Grads. They're all life experiences that, you know, like Rag Week in college. I've never had any of that. So like, I've done thousands of things other people haven't. Yeah. But like, those things are experiences, and, you know, they're something that'll stay with you forever. So it's literally days that you're left in school. You know, I would make the most out of it. If you don't do well, it doesn't matter, but you finished it. And just by finishing the task means that you'll always be able to finish a task that you don't like. You know, if you're not good in school. And don't worry, if you don't do well in your leaving cert, that's no reflection as you as a person. You can then go, okay, well, let's have a chat with myself. What do I want to do? You don't have to have it figured out at 18 or 19. I was 35 when I got going. Stephen, what age were you before?
I was in my 30s anyway.
Yeah, you know, and this is the difference. Like, you know, I ran riot in my 20s, ran riot in my teens. I was only in my 30s started to come right. And like, I'm 39 now, and I've, you know, I now have a sense of direction. Who knows what the 40s will bring? You know, I have ideas of other businesses I want to open. And bearing in mind, I have zero education. Everything that I do is self-taught. I qualified as, I did a weekend course to become a personal trainer to get my qualification, but the real work was done on the gym floor with people. And there isn't a day doesn't go by that whenever I sit into my car, there's either a podcast automatically comes on or an audio book, because I'm so shit at reading, because I never read much as a child. And I consume information by listening to it. Yeah. So I have lots of books in Audible that, you know, somebody's reading to me, and I can take it in. Whereas if I'm at a page, I'm just there going, so I'm reading and I get a quarter way down it and I'm there going, thinking about something else or thinking about another problem. I go, what the fuck did I just read? You know, and you to reread it. So be self-aware. If you're not good at reading, it doesn't fucking matter. That doesn't mean you're thick. There's so many other ways. We're heading into an era now where voice is going to massively take control in this world. So voice is where it's at. Like, if you think about it, I can now drive, in a minute I'm now driving to my other gym in Skibbereen. Like, I couldn't read a book while I'm driving the car there, but I can listen to a book. So you can multitask when you're training. I like listening to things as well. And it's, you know, there's so many other ways of learning than the traditional educational system that's mapped out, and the traditional fucking get a house, get married, you know, 2.1 kids or whatever it is, and, you know, all that crap. Forget it. You know, you write your own future, but finish the task at hand, which is staying in school. That would be my number one takeaway piece of advice I would give you, because at least you've done that.
Awesome. You know. Cool. We'll wrap it up there. So.
Okay, cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephen.
It's been a pleasure.
Not a bother. And guys, any of you that have watched this and you've got anything from it, you are more than welcome to reach out to me on any of my platforms, at Alastair_Harte on Instagram. I answer every single DM. I have 0 message requests. So if there's anyone who wants to reach out, I'm quite happy to voice note you back or anything like that. Don't worry. I'm not going to say it's a tenner to talk to me or something like that. Completely free, just like Stephen. This is why. Look, we've been there, done that, and we want to try and give back, and we just want to try and help. I think we want to try and help our earlier selves is what we're doing through you guys. So that's it. Thank you, and awesome. We'll talk to you all very soon.
So, as always, guys, thank you so much if you've stayed to the end of this episode and you listened to it all the way through. I hope you picked up some inspiration to listening to Alastair. I hope that if you're someone that kind of is stuck within your own life at the moment, or if you're hitting some different challenges or trying to overcome different hurdles within your life, that hopefully this Alastair's story has kind of inspired you or lifted you up in some way, or given you some tips or tools to allow you to progress and move forward. So again, thank you so much for checking out the episode again. If you want to check me out, again, just check me out on Stephen O'Brien Coaching. You'll find me on Instagram, you'll find me on Facebook. But yeah, guys, I look forward to you tuning into the next episode. And as always, do please share the episode, rate it, review it, and give me some good feedback. I want to try and make this as good as possible. I set up this podcast really just to inspire people to become physically, emotionally, and mentally stronger. So that's why I'm trying to bring in as many people as possible that I know can add value to you. So guys, again, thank you so much for listening to the episode, and I'll catch you on the next one.